Guys, I keep trying to dedicate time to a nice, decent length of video, like a garden tour. I've been working on one for a long time, haven't edited the video and posted it. So I figured I would make a very quick and short video that I did not have to edit much, just a little how-to. So a lot of times I go to Dixieline to grab some 6-pack veg, especially when they're on sale. A lot of times they will have clearance racks where these 6-packs that can be anywhere from $3 to $4. Sometimes they get marked down to $1, just to get them out of there once they're, you know, a little past their prime, or they don't look too hot or anything like that. So I'm going to show you guys how to take those clearance veg and clean them up well enough and prepare them for planting so that you can still get some longevity out of them, but you didn't have to pay, you know, the full $4 or $5 for a 6-pack. This here is a Swiss chard. This was not on clearance. I actually asked them to discount this item because one of these cells is actually empty. The plant rotted away. We've gotten a ton of rain, and people that aren't knowledgeable in starting seeds and seedlings don't often take the care to cover them or drain them out after the rain comes. They just let them keep sopping and soaking, and then you end up with rot and pests and molds and all kinds of weird things. So these are they're very healthy in the inner leaves, so that's all that matters. So when you look at a 6-pack, let me pop one out. Usually they're root bound enough that you can just squeeze a little bit and the whole thing will come out. This one's a little shallow. So obviously some root rot was probably going on here. One fun thing about Swiss chard roots is that they're the same color as the stem. I always thought that was really cool. So if we look at this chard plant, we have an intact root system. So here is the Swiss chard baby. So you see there's a lot of leaves on here that are pretty long, you know, spindly stems. We need to cut all of that off before we plant this, or we're just going to waste and lose these leaves. They're literally going to wilt and die and turn yellow and fall off, when we could have just clipped them and ate them and then planted the plant and then had brand new leaves. That way, no waste, and you got a little bit of stuff for a salad. So I just trimmed the outermost leaves all the way down to the last 2 or 3 leaves, because you want the ones that are still in the tender state, so they're still green. You see how these ones have more of that dark red tint, and these ones are very fluorescent green. That's how you can tell the difference on what leaves you should be taking. Obviously Swiss chard comes in rainbow colors, so there's pink, there's yellow, there's orange, there's white, etc. So actually, yeah, these are all in the tender stage, so this is properly pruned. These leaves would have actually been wasted. So as you can see, this is what would happen if we would have just planted these in the ground as they are without trimming these outer leaves away. So trim away anything that's rotten and then trim away any mature leaves so that we can actually enjoy those. So I've actually done a little bit of updating to the garden beds. I've kind of moved them around a little bit to better suit for the flow of rain. We've gotten a lot of rain lately, and I was having some problems with the soil draining properly in certain areas of the garden. My soil is very, very much clay heavy. I live in Southern California, so we have that very clay and sand soil, so it's not always the best situation for every type of plant. So there are certain areas of the garden that I can only plant certain things because of the soil quality. I've been really trying to increase the amount of organic matter in those clay areas to kind of help break that up. That's proven to be pretty taxing, as I'm not going to buy any of that material. So I'm just trying to compost what I have in my yard to loosen up that soil. So right here, I actually have a white chard and a yellow chard. The roots are very much entangled, so I guess I will take the opportunity to show you guys how to separate those. There's actually also a little red one. I'm gonna try to save that one too. Okay, so you're going to lean them away from each other and you're gonna wiggle. You'll start to hear crunching and cracking. That's just the root fibers coming untangled. And it's that easy. If you were to just yank them without doing the wiggle, they're gonna break and you're gonna be sad. Now for separating a smaller seedling from a larger seedling is a little more delicate. It looks like that one was already snapped. So that one's not salvageable, so I just pulled that out and we have our little yellow one. So again, any of these little hangy leaves, they have to go. They're not gonna survive the transplant shock. And that's exactly what transplant shock is. The leaves that are mature and are used to living in this 6-pack go into shock when you throw them in the ground. But these young leaves that are just getting started, they don't know what's going on, so they just grow and adapt to the new condition. It's much harder for an adult leaf to adapt to new nutrients and drainage than a young leaf. The other plant I had picked up clearanced because of the same empty 6-pack situation. This one's actually only half the pack. This is some nice oak leaf lettuce. I've never grown oak leaf lettuce and it's been on my list for a while. So with the lettuce, your best bet is to remove the rotten leaves from the bottom. Anything that you wouldn't eat, remove at this stage. Go ahead and compost that. Anything that you would eat, you're gonna hold in your hand. Watch this. And you're gonna chop. That is how you prepare lettuce for transplant. Because if you just go and slam these bad boys in the ground like this, all these big juicy leaves are gonna rot tomorrow. Like they'll be wilted tomorrow and they will be rotten, you know, within a few days. I already had some preservation projects going on in the kitchen of some beet leaves, radish leaves, and things like that. So I can just go ahead and throw these right into processing situation. Also what you can do is pull those extra little pieces of stem off, because those are just going to turn brown and fall off anyways. So that's how I prep lettuce to go into bed. Okay, so this is a very tangled situation. We have 3 lettuce plants, 1 red and 2 green. One is very small, so I'm going to try to pull that one apart first. Lettuce, you usually don't have to do the wiggle because they are such soft roots. They just, you know, slip right apart. These little leaves I'm not going to save because they're pretty dirty. So we just chop the top. And that's our little baby. This says romaine blend. This is not romaine lettuce. This is not romaine lettuce. This is not romaine lettuce. I just noticed that this said romaine lettuce. That's wrong. Half the time, these seed trays are mislabeled. Please be careful. I've seen people post in gardening groups, oh, I planted XYZ seedling, but it looks like this. What is this? Those are always the funniest. I've had my fair share of interesting mislabels. It happens the most with peppers, though. But anywho, so from these 2 clearance units, I probably paid $5 for both of them. We gained 2 reusable plastic seed trays, a salad for dinner, some very strongly rooted starts. So we actually kind of knocked out quite a few things with this clearance trip. I also made 2 full price purchases. One for this asparagus, so it's more of an asparagus flavored broccoli, and yellow pear tomatoes. I've been struggling to find seeds for these, so I grabbed those and they were super great price, way cheaper than I had been seeing everywhere else that I refused to buy them from. Before I go, I want to say one more thing. These guys, you want to plant up to where you can see any type of like brown on the stem. That's the part you want to cover with soil. So like this one's a good example. So you wouldn't bury this one like this, like you would a tomato. You want to make sure you keep only what's brown under the soil or the whole plant will rot. With that said, I will let you guys go, and I'm just going to insert a cute little clip with some music after these guys are planted.